who is the NFL's biggest wildcard team entering this upcoming season? What I define as a wildcard team is a squad that has no in-between. They're either going to be really good or they're going to be really bad. There is no 8-9, 7-10. You're either good or you're going to be garbage. That team for me that I view as a wild card team is the Arizona Cardinals. They have steadily improved over the last 2 years under Jonathan Gannon. They won 4 games in 2023. They improved their win total by 4 last season. And they were really competitive against a lot of playoff teams last season. And they're coming off a really strong offseason where they had one of the best draft classes in the league. Walter Nolen in the first round. He has the potential to be one of the more dominant defensive tackles in the NFL when it comes to getting after the quarterback, where he could be a 9 double-digit sack producer for Arizona, which would make him an elite defensive tackle. Will Johnson was the biggest steal of the draft. If it wasn't for him having old man knees, he would have been a top 10 pick without a doubt. He was a blue chip talent in this draft class, a player that as long as he's on the field, he's going to be one of the best at his position. He's going to improve the Cardinals secondary. You got Jordan Birch, who is a freakishly athletic pass rusher out of the University of Oregon, who had 8.5 sacks last year. Cody Simon was a multi-year starter for Ohio State, and he was one of the more productive linebackers in all of college football. He's fantastic against the run. He's good if you want to blitz him to send extra pressure on the quarterback. And you also signed Josh Sweat in free agency, who may not be an elite tier pass rusher, but he's one of those guys that you can consistently count on to give you 7, 8, or more sacks every single season. The question for the Arizona Cardinals this year was going to make or break how good this team will be this season is going to be their offense. The Cardinals offense is very annoying because when they're at their best and Kyler Murray is playing good football, this is one of the more explosive offenses in the league. They got a lot of weapons in the passing game. Trey McBride has emerged as a top 5 tight end in this league. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., who should turn out to be an elite receiver. Michael Wilson is a really good wide receiver too. We know how good James Conner is. You talk about a bruiser and afraid at running back, it doesn't get better than him. And Kyler Murray is one of the best athletes in the history of the NFL. But his problem is that he is consistently inconsistent. He can play well for a first half and then disappear in the second half of games, or he can have a good 2-week stretch of football and then go a month putting up a bunch of duds. And we talk about Trevor Lawrence not living up to the build as what you expect from a first overall pick. Kyler Murray is in that same conversation along with Trevor Lawrence, where the talent is there for both of these guys to be elite quarterbacks in the league, but the production has not been there. And Kyler Murray, for as much hate as what Trevor Lawrence has gotten, he hasn't won a playoff game yet. Trevor Lawrence has. When is Kyler Murray finally going to have his defining moment when everything comes together for him and he shows that he finally is going to be able to live up to the build as a former first overall pick? That day may never come. Yeah, he is a super athlete, but his size does kind of hold him back, and he isn't the most consistent thrower of the football. How successful the Arizona Cardinals are going to be this year is going to heavily rely on the shoulders of Kyler Murray. And this is a boomer bust season for him. If he can't get it done this year, Jonathan Gannon is going to get fired, and he is going to be on his 3rd head coach with him being a veteran in this league. Eventually, if you're Arizona and you're their general manager, you're going to have to ask the question, is this a head coaching problem for why we can't go far? Or is this a quarterback problem that we have overlooked for the sake of the coaches not being good. Eventually, Monte Ossenfort is going to have to look at Kyler Murray, and he's going to have to decide if he actually has the ability to be a franchise-level quarterback. The talent is there, but the consistency with Kyler Murray does not match the talent output. That's what makes the Arizona Cardinals the NFL's biggest wild card team. The defense should be really good, but offensively, if Kyler Murray continues to be the inconsistent quarterback that he has been up to this point in his career, where he can play good for one half, disappear in the second half, or have stretches during the season when he just doesn't look that good at all, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be the worst team in the NFC West this year. The Seahawks still are really good. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. We know the 49ers are going to bounce back with the easy schedule that they have. And the LA Rams are one of the top teams going into the NFC with how well they've drafted and they've developed on both sides of the football. So if Kyler Murray doesn't step up this year, the Cardinals can find themselves right back for being the worst team in the NFC West. But if Kyler Murray is good this year and he is able to match his talent level with that same consistency and his production on the field, the Cardinals have the ceiling to not just win the NFC West with how well they've drafted, how good they were in free agency. They could possibly be a 12-win team this year and win a playoff game or two. But it all depends on how good Kyler